We are live. 1 second, guys. Just want to make sure everything's all set on our end. Go to our channel really quick. Make sure everything's playing. Make sure everything's good. All right. Looks like we're all set to go here. Give me 1 second, guys, as I get the stream set up. Just gonna get this going. Get this going, blue. Oops. Okay, we're just gonna scratch what I was just doing now. But welcome, guys, to the NBA Finals kind of post-game talk here on The Charge. Of course, it's just me, myself, and I today. We might have a guest on as soon as the series is over to kind of talk about the legacy of LeBron James, because I think we all know and well that this series is officially over. One thing that I can say about it is that I thought that the Miami Heat did a really good job at the beginning of the game. I thought they did an excellent job of kind of coming up strong. We saw Jimmy Butler attacking the paint, doing a really good job, getting 23 points, but the rest of his team was very disappointing. And we're seeing now that we're seeing a lot of more bench players play. Myers Leonard obviously not playing that much. I think that he would be useful in this sort of situation, because I think he actually can provide some defense. Is it going to be very good? Probably not, because we know that the gimmick for the Miami Heat was shooting threes and playing a zone defense, and they didn't really play that much zone defense today. When they did, they were pretty successful, and when they didn't, it's obviously when they got in trouble. And I think what's hard about playing the zone defense, especially when you got guys like Anthony Davis and LeBron James, is that they're able to make those quick passes. Their shooters right now are shooting tremendous right now, 3 of 8, 2 of 6, and they shot about 39% as a team, and you kind of saw that here on tonight's game. One thing that's very disappointing to see is that Goran Dragic looks like it's going to be a foot injury that's going to keep him out for the rest of the series. We don't know much about Bam Adebayo. I can look on Twitter really quick and see if there's anything. Let's do this, actually. Let's go with Goran Dragic. See if there's no rumors or news on here really quick. Seeing if we can't talk about, let's see here. Okay, so it looks like it might be a plantar fasciitis issue. Hopefully he didn't tear anything in there. That'd be probably the worst thing in the world. In this game, we saw a lot of injuries. I think Bam Adebayo is going to be fine. Let's look at Bam. And just kind of get those injuries out the way, because we know that they're... see here, leads with injuries. I mean, let's see here. Bam Adebayo will not return the game. Shoulders negative. Okay. So that's good that the x-rays were negative. So that means Bam Adebayo will be able to play, hopefully, in one of these games. But unfortunately, this is kind of going to be the end of the Miami Heat, and it's why the reason I called the sweep. Even before the injuries happened to Goran Dragic, to Bam Adebayo, to Jimmy Butler a little bit, but he came back in here. The reason why I say it's officially over, and the reason why I called it a sweep at the beginning, is because the Miami Heat just don't have the superstars in the world, right? You have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who are two of the top 5 best NBA players in the world right now playing on your team. And when you play with 2 superstars like that, it's hard to beat, man. It takes a special team, and it takes a special kind of situation, like we saw with the Detroit Pistons with Shaq and Kobe. It's the same way I see it here with the Miami Heat. They just don't have those kind of lucky breaks that the Detroit Pistons got when they faced the LA Lakers many years back. The one thing I can say is that it's a little bit of a disappointing night, not only for guys like Goran Dragic, who obviously will be out for the series. It's also going to be a disappointing night for guys like Duncan Robinson, who played a really lot of minutes, but unfortunately just didn't get any 3-point shots off. And that's something that you have to credit the Lakers. I told you guys in my pregame show that the Lakers had to do a really good job of making sure they covered Duncan Robinson on those pick and rolls, and they played it perfectly. As you can see, that Duncan Robinson was 0 for 3 today. I mean, the way that they were able to kind of maneuver and control the game, it was something that I haven't seen a team do, especially in the East. But obviously it takes the West to kind of derail what the Miami Heat are doing. And we kind of see that, unfortunately, for the LA Lakers, or fortunately for the LA Lakers, and unfortunate for the Miami Heat, because Duncan Robinson was a big reason why this team was doing so well. I mean, even guys like Tyler Hero didn't really play that well, 14 points, but with the minus 35. Defensively, that's who they were attacking. You can kind of tell by the defensive rating. Usually defensive rating kind of tells you which players they're going after. And that was one of the players that they went after today. They went after Tyler Hero. They went after Jay Crowder, Jimmy Butler a little bit, but mostly it was Jay Crowder and Tyler Hero. And as you can tell by the stat line, Tyler Hero did not have a great game. Even though he was 6 of 18, 2 of 8 from shooting from 3, it was still a horrendous game defensively for Tyler Hero, as he got exposed by guys like LeBron James, by guys like Anthony Davis, and could easily dunk the ball and win them the game. Kind of moving on to the superstars of this finals matchup, Jimmy Butler, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis played his usual game, right? He got you the 34 points. He finally got you the rebounds with 9 rebounds and 5 assists. I mean, I think the real question is going to be whether or not the Lakers aren't going to sweep. It's going to be who's going to be the finals MVP, because I think that's going to be a really tight race between LeBron James and Anthony Davis, because like I said, I don't trust the Miami Heat. I don't trust their offense. They don't have a third superstar. And when you're playing the Lakers, I feel like you need that third superstar, especially when you go against guys like Anthony Davis and LeBron James. The reason why I say they might be able to get away with it is just because they have special circumstances. Like we saw with the Shaq and Kobe, and what happened in their relationship, and what happened off the court with Kobe Bryant in that aspect. And we saw that really affect those two guys, and that's how the Detroit Pistons were able to win, in my opinion. Kind of rewatching it, because obviously watching it as a kid, you don't really remember that stuff. You don't really pick up on the details, so you had to watch the games again. And luckily, I was able to in quarantine when I had all this free time. Like I said, it's a disappointing night for Jimmy Butler, because I think he came out to play a little bit, kind of what we talked about earlier, 19 to 23 points. He just doesn't score enough for me to really warrant him to kind of overcome the difficulties of not being able to shoot the 3. I know he was 2 of 4 tonight, but the 3-point shot is just not his thing, as you can tell. We obviously know that Anthony Davis is going to attack guys like Jay Crowder and whoever else is guarding him. It could even be Bam Adebayo, who really didn't play very well, even in the 21 minutes that he was in. It just wasn't an effective 21 minutes. Bam Adebayo, he might be hurt. It doesn't matter. He's playing in the game. No excuses for Bam Adebayo. It's just a frustrating night for the Miami Heat, who Eric Spoelstra has to go back to the drawing board and figure out, all right, what's going to be our strategy? Are we going to stick to a 2-3 zone? Are we actually going to play the 2-3 zone? Because right now we're just getting our butts kicked, and we kind of saw the rebounding category, only 36 rebounds compared to 54 for the LA Lakers. That's absolutely insane to see that a team with Bam Adebayo, guys like Jimmy Butler, the highest rebounder was Kelly Olynyk, Andre Iguodala, and Kendrick Nunn, who finally got some minutes. And I told you guys about Kendrick Nunn. I thought he should have been playing more. We'll see if Kendrick Nunn kind of slides into that role that Goran Dragic has due to the foot injury, because I think Nunn kind of plays a similar style. I know my friends will disagree with me on that, but I do like Nunn. I do like his ability in this game, and so we'll see what happens from here on out. Like I said, it's just a sad story. Sorry, guys, I'm looking at my second screen. It's just a sad story to see for the Miami Heat that they can't keep continuing that success that they had in the first, 10 minutes before LeBron James and the LA Lakers came back and kind of took the lead 31-28 after the first quarter. And it's just a sad scenario, guys. I think that if we kind of look at everything and we kind of replay everything, if we kind of think about everything, it just didn't work. And Andre Iguodala also got exposed as well. They call him the LeBron stopper. I laughed when he won the MVP, because I really thought it should have been Steph Curry's MVP that year, because Andre Iguodala isn't the LeBron stopper. Yes, LeBron James might be shooting a lower percentage, but he's still getting to the hole. He's still scoring his points. He's still getting his rebounds and assists. So how can you be the LeBron stopper with those stat lines? And so that's kind of my opinion on that sort of deal with when it comes to Andre Iguodala. I don't see him as the LeBron James stuffer or the LeBron James stopper. And yeah, man, I just kind of got disappointed right now with how the Miami Heat played. Obviously, this game, scoreline-wise, was a lot closer than it really was, because really it was like a 30 to almost 40-point difference. Obviously, the Lakers aren't going to be playing all their superstars. They're going to be just playing mostly the role players. You saw a lot of guys get minutes. You saw Jared Dudley get a minute in there. Shout out Jared Dudley. Caruso going to be playing a little bit more. J.R. Smith got a minute in. Obviously didn't really do too much. Quinn Cook also got in the game. And it's just kind of one of those things where, you had him right where you want to in the first quarter, and then just as soon as you stop doing what you're doing well on the team, it kind of costs you. And we saw that with the Miami Heat. I mean, kind of looking at their stat line, 31% isn't too terrible, but shooting 42% is. And obviously, like I said, they did a really good job of stopping Duncan Robinson from getting those 3-point shots off, because that was the key to why the Miami Heat were so successful in those last couple series, especially against the Bucks, especially against the Celtics, and they took that away. Tyler Hero was a defensive liability waiting to happen. He needs to work on his defensive game. I love offensively what he brings, but defensively he needs to step it up. And then you got guys like Derrick Jones Jr. is only going to be playing 7 minutes. You got Solomon Hill. You got Kelly Olynyk, who is probably trying to injure people. I really think that the league should think about Kelly Olynyk and take away... I don't know what they need to do with him. They just need to take him off the team, man, because I feel like he's going to injure people. He's going to try and do something crazy. I understand that's maybe a bad rap for guys like Kelly Olynyk, but I just don't trust him. I feel like he's going to hurt somebody. So please, NBA, let's make sure that we look out for those dirty plays, because I know they're there. He's done it to my Celtics. He's done it to the Cavaliers when they were want to go on their championship run. LeBron James remember that very well with Kevin Love. And so I'm hoping that the league can look at that. But besides the point about Kelly Olynyk, I think the biggest talking point here is going to be, the brilliance of the LA Lakers. And defensively, I feel like they're a lot better without Dwight Howard on the floor. I know Dwight Howard on the floor can get you rebounds. He could try and intimidate Bam Adebayo, but I really do believe that they play a lot better without Dwight Howard on the floor. I mean, we saw what kind of run they went on when they took him off the court and they kind of stuck to their lineup of all these guys, and maybe they added Kyle Kuzma or Marcus Morris, whoever, or Rajon Rondo, and taking kind of Dwight Howard off the court. I thought they played a lot better. And yeah, babe, I mean, they did play sloppy and they looked super slow and tired. I just think that the Miami Heat played such a tough series against not only the Milwaukee Bucks, but also the Boston Celtics. That took a lot of toll on them. Bam Adebayo was still hurt from that series, but that's still no excuse. Bam Adebayo needs to play a lot better. And hopefully, since the x-rays were negative, he's able to play in these next couple games. But kind of looking at everything else, I'm just a little disappointed in the way that the Miami Heat kind of went away from their zone defense. I think if they would have went back to their zone defense, I think they could have done a better job. But obviously the LA Lakers were shooting threes very well. And like I said, this was another masterclass from Anthony Davis. This was another masterclass from LeBron James, who spectacularly, LeBron James almost had the triple-double. I think if he would have had it this game, I was close on the triple-double. Points-wise, not so much, but definitely on the rebounding and assists, I was kind of close on that numbers. And then Anthony Davis definitely stepped up and did his part. And then kind of looking at everything, Rajon Rondo, got 4 assists. Didn't really do much for me that I was impressed by him. Like I said, I think this game came down to the X factors of Danny Green and Caldwell Pope. We know that 3-point shots are going to be very effective for the LA Lakers in order to win games. We know that Anthony Davis and LeBron James are going to be taking most of the shots. But you also need guys like Green, like Pope, taking those shots when the time is needed. And we saw that Caldwell Pope was able to do it. Got to the line, shot 5 for 5 from the free throw line. 92% from the free throw line is going to win you a lot of games. The turnover battle, it wasn't that many turnovers for the Miami Heat. I think you could think of turnovers as well as to how they were able to kind of restrict the Miami Heat from shooting so well. And they did a good job. And it also came down to players missing shots as well. And so when we look at everything, when we kind of see the stats, this was kind of just another situation where I think that the Lakers are going to sweep the Miami Heat, and it's really going to be a battle about who's going to win the finals MVP, because I think that's really what's going to come down to, because Anthony Davis said it himself as soon as he dunked the ball and they called the timeout. It's over. He's done. He's tired of it. He wants to win these in 4 games and go home. I think every one of those guys and every one of those players, coaching staff, everybody wants to go home, see their wives, their lady of the night, or whoever they like to see, and just kind of go back to kind of being relaxed with their families and doing whatever they like to do in their free time. Uh, let's see here. Can we talk about the Haslam culture for the Heat and that announcers mentioned he doesn't even play? Well, Gabby, if you watched the NBA for a long time, he was on that team since like, God, I don't know if he was there since like Dwayne Wade 2006, but he definitely was there at least 2006. He might have been there way earlier. And Udonis Haslam does have a good culture effect around the Miami Heat. I mean, this team hasn't really tanked that much. I think their highest pick was maybe like 10, but they usually got into that purgatory of not really good for the playoffs but not really bad to tank. And so kind of his culture and the way that he talks about things, the way that he's kind of a coach, I definitely can see Udonis Haslam being a player's coach at some point, and being like either a player developmental coach or even just being a head coach himself in the NBA, or even college or high school, wherever he decides to go to, because I think he's that good. We see guys like Tyler Hero step out of their shell. We never really expect a rookie to come out and play very well. We don't expect guys like Duncan Robinson to play very well. So I think Haslam does bring a lot of great culture, not only for the city of Miami, but also for the Miami Heat organization, and the way that he's able to kind of get everybody on the same page. He's really a team leader, even though he doesn't play, even though he's going to be a guy that just becomes a role player for here on out. Excuse me as I got. He's a really good culture guy, and I think that he's someone that you want in your locker room, to help the young guys, make them learn things, help them out tremendously. And that's kind of the Udonis Haslam effect that he has in the Miami Heat. I think that what's unfortunate, and I kind of wish he got at least a minute in the NBA Finals. Like, if it's going to be a sweep, I hope that he at least gets a minute or two in the NBA Finals and kind of, bask in the glory of maybe this might be his final, no pun intended, MVP, or not, sorry, MVP, his finals minutes, besides, the 2006 and like the championships that he won with LeBron James and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade. But it's kind of a sad situation to see that the Miami Heat just couldn't muster up anything to kind of help themselves get back into the game or help them get back into the game, or even help themselves kind of get some positive momentum for next game. Because, the only positive I can see from this is that Kendrick Nunn, even though it was in garbage minutes, I still think he did really well. He played very well. I think he's a good player. I think that he can really bring some Gordon Dragic like energy from the bench, and if you insert him to the starting lineup, I know that they love Tyler Hero. I know that he's a good player, but defensively, he's just a liability at this point. And he's a rookie. I think he's good. I like Tyler Hero, but just like any other rookie, just like any player that's bad defensively, you just can't play him that often, or you can't play him in long spurts, because we saw how defensively liable he was with a minus 35 plus minus. That might be the worst. I don't even know what the worst plus minus in NBA history is. Let me look this up. See who's got the worst plus minus. This is the best. Let's see if Reddit has the answers to this. Reddit usually does. A minus 57 by Manny Harris in 8 years ago. And so with Tyler Hero has a minus 35 because he's a defensive liability and he's not really good defensively. I mean, that's kind of a shocker to me. I think the Miami Heat needs to take a look at how many minutes he's playing and to get him in better position and get him in better help side and really kind of, whether you're going to put him on the side or whatever you're going to do with Tyler Hero, you're going to have to do something different with him, because obviously this stat line and the way that they're going right now is just not good. And it's kind of disappointing, like I said, to see that the Miami Heat couldn't muster up defensively the capability to get back into the game. And really, like I said, it just comes down to the LA Lakers just being the better team with the better players and with the better role players as well. I mean, I do love Jimmy Butler. I love Bam Adebayo, but they're just not ready for prime time. Tyler Hero is still a baby. Kendrick Nunn is still a baby. And Andre Iguodala is just too old right now to really be an effective role player for this team. And that's kind of all I really have to say about this team. That's all I really have to say about I mean, that's really all I have to say about the game right now. It's kind of disappointing to kind of really watch the game because I knew this was going to be a sweep. I knew that this was going to be a situation where the LA Lakers are just too damn good. They have too many good players. Their three-point shooting is finally where it was. You know, at the beginning of the bubble, we were a little nervous. We were still wondering, you know, they're struggling three-point shooting wise. Are they going to be able to keep up? Are they going to be able to attack? Are they going to be able to are they still going to keep up with are the Miami Heat going to keep up with the LA Lakers right now? And the answer was no. They're defensively, their zone just didn't, they worked in spurts, but they couldn't do it the whole time. It's just disappointing right now to see that they couldn't do that. And I really wish that we could see a different, Miami Heat team, but it's just not going to happen. When you have two of the top 5 best players in the world, when you have one of the best benches, I feel like, in the NBA right now, to me, I think it's just a situation where I think the Miami Heat are really kind of going to bask in the moment of just kind of saying, you know what, we're here. Let's see what we can do. If we can't do it, it is what it is. Because right now, it's just a little bit disappointing to see that Miami just couldn't muster up anything, and they can't really step up to the plate because they don't have the superstars or the facilities or whatever it is. And by facilities, I'm talking about a meme with that reference. But it is what it is. I am disappointed in the fact that the Miami Heat kind of laid down a little bit to the LA Lakers, whether it's due to injury, whether it's due to whatever. I still think it's disappointing. I still think it's frustrating. And I think that's really all I got to say about tonight's game. It's not a live stream where I'm going to talk for like 45 minutes to an hour because, to be honest with you guys, I've kind of predicted this, and I think we're going to be going into a different conversation when we go to talking about the finals MVP and kind of talking about once it gets to game 4, because like I said, I don't have faith in the Miami Heat kind of pulling a game out of here. I think it's going to be a sweep. I called it a sweep. And I just think the Miami Heat just can't, because the way that 3-point shooting is so streaky at times, right? Because that was the Miami Heat's best offense. That was their best thing to do, was the 3-point shooting. And we saw time and time again that it's a very streaky thing. And we've seen situations where, you know, maybe it's Tyler Hero's hitting threes, whether it's Duncan Robinson hitting threes, whether it's Goran Dragic hitting threes, it doesn't matter. But when it's very streaky, and we saw that tonight, they weren't able to have that good luck. Besides Jay Crowder, everyone else was kind of awful or terrible besides none. And Jimmy Butler, then I think it's one of those situations where we're going to have to kind of look at seeing who's going to win the finals MVP between Anthony Davis and LeBron James, because like I said, it's going to be a sweep. It's going to be nasty. And I think it's going to be the same result that we saw tonight for the next 4 games, especially if Goran Dragic is out, because that's a huge one. Hopefully it's not a big foot injury, but sources are telling me, not like telling me physically, but sources I'm reading, such as Sham, such as many other guys. I mean, let's kind of look at the Goran Dragic again, kind of look at the rumors and situations. Let's view on Twitter. Kind of look at Goran Dragic, see what's going on here. Let's see here. Chris Haynes, very reliable source. Goran Dragic is receiving x-rays on his left foot. Sources tell ESPN, suffered a plantar tear in his left foot. Yeah, he's done. The Miami Heat have officially lost the NBA series with this one tweet. Obviously, don't listen to this thing, asterisk title. That's just dumb. That's just people just being dumb and not realizing. But this right here, guys, Goran Dragic with a tear in his plantar fascia. That is just absolutely devastating news for the Miami Heat. I think it's a really big loss because, like I talked about when we played against him, he's the head of the snake, and we saw what happened when he switched Marcus Smart to him and disrupted him. It really disrupted the whole Miami Heat team, and we're kind of seeing the same situation happen here tonight with Goran Dragic being out, and now he's out for the series. I mean, it's going to be a completely different game plan. The question now becomes, do you start Tyler Hero? Do you start Kendrick Nunn? Do you start Andre Iguodala? Who do you start in front of Goran Dragic? Because really, I don't see anybody with ball handling abilities besides Kendrick Nunn. Kendrick Nunn was a little rusty because he hasn't played that much, but I think they're going to have to get Kendrick Nunn some minutes, and they're going to get him some run right now because he's going to be a guy that is very Goran Dragic-esque like, not because he's also a lefty and can shoot the three really well and kind of does the same kind of gimmick as Goran Dragic. I just think it's going to be a great kind of swap for Goran Dragic and Kendrick Nunn. But guys, that is the late breaking news. And I'll kind of make also a reference to this video as well. Goran Dragic tears his plantar fascia, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, who I'm assuming he gets some reliable sources from ESPN, whatever sources those are. A tear is definitely going to be a bad thing for this Heat team, and it sucks to see that he's officially out of the NBA Finals. But anyway, guys, thank you again for joining me on this live stream. It's been a pleasure talking about it. Obviously, I'm going to have a special guest on. You might see that is a former Charge member here that usually helps me do some videos. But, it's just one of those things where it's just disappointing. We see, we got some very interesting situation where we see Rivers and the 76ers to discuss coaching job. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. Could be an interesting situation. We'll see if Doc Rivers wants to keep Joel Embiid and him, but I'm not really too confident in that, to be honest with you guys. It is what it is, and I'm gonna be looking to see whether or not we get some better situations coming out of there from. I get her out of Miami, but I just don't see it, guys. I think it's one of those situations where we're gonna see a sweep of the Heat. We're gonna see LeBron James win his Finals MVP. That's my final guess. I don't think it's gonna be anybody else. I mean, Anthony Davis is kind of a long shot for me to be the Finals MVP, just due to the fact that we know that he scores, we know that he can rebound, but I think LeBron James does everything so well. He's such a well-rounded player. When you have two of the top 5 best players in the world on your team, it's hard to stop that team. It's hard to even compete with that team, and it is what it is. We're just gonna have to deal with it. And let me know your guys' comments in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of this Miami Heat Lakers series? Do you guys think it's gonna be a sweep? Do you guys think that's gonna be a situation where we're gonna see a ton of people kind of rag on the Miami Heat in that situation? But anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie. Thank you once again for joining me on the Charge live stream, where we talk about the NBA Finals, what's going on, the storylines, the rumors, the narrative that's going on for the Miami Heat, the narrative that's going on for the LA Lakers, and bringing it and making it all come together, trying to make sense of it. But anyway, guys, like I said, thank you once again for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next live stream. Peace, guys.